We begin in Europe, where at least 6 people have been killed following Russian strikes across Ukraine. The attacks happened overnight, targeting power and water infrastructure. Several people have been taken to hospital. Many more were taken cover in bomb shelters. According to Ukraine's Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal, 15 regions were targeted by Russia and several explosions rang out in affected cities. Shmyhal adds that Russian forces used drone cruise missiles and Kinzhal hypersonic missiles to carry out their attacks. The entire country was also under air raid alerts. The attacks were so intense, neighboring Poland was forced to activate its air force as the strikes came close to Polish airspace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has offered more details now into last night's attacks on his country. He says more than 100 missiles and drones were launched by Russia overnight. He made the revelation on the social media platform Telegram. Mr. Zelenskyy noted the primary target was Ukraine's critical civilian infrastructure, indicating there's been a lot of damage to energy facilities and repair work is underway to restore power. In the meantime, the head of Kyiv's military administration, Serhiy Popko, says Ukraine's air defenses shot down around 15 missiles and drone strikes by Moscow forces. These fresh attacks have renewed Ukraine's call for Western long-range weapons systems and permission from allies to use them on Russian soil. The viewer is Anna Chernikova is thankfully alive and safe. She joins us now from Kyiv. Anna, can't tell you how great it is to see you safe and well. Describe to us last night what it felt like, with those rockets and missiles going all over the place.
Well, good evening. Actually, I could say that this was the most intense attack since the beginning of the Russian full-scale invasion. Just a couple of minutes ago, Ukrainian government confirmed that 127 missiles and 109 drones were involved by Russia in this attack. And Ukrainian forces managed to destroy 102 missiles and 99 drones. And I should say that it was not actually only over the night attack, because the air raid alarm began at around 3 o'clock in the morning and ended at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, even later. I'm talking about Kyiv region, as during the attack I was in the Kyiv region and in my parents' house, and one of the drones was shut down not far away, and the whole drone fell down just 300 meters from my parents' building, private house, and it actually I still can see the smoke from the window, and the huge territory of the forest was on fire, and a lot of citizens of this little town were involved to stop the fire, because it was a really big scare that fire could actually move on from the forest to the private sector, and hundreds of people would have been at risk. And basically, this is what was happening not only in the Kyiv region, but across the country, in the west, in the south, in the north, in the east, in the central part. So basically, this attack was covering the whole territory of Ukraine. And as President Zelenskyy said, and as the government said, that mainly critical infrastructure was the main target. But as you can see, those drones and missiles that were shut down, they actually were either debris, or the whole thing were just landing next to the houses of people, and at least 6 people were killed, as you correctly mentioned. There are also casualties still. The final numbers are to be specified, but at this point we have understanding that the situation in energy is back to critical, almost critical. Really, a lot of electricity outages across the country. The country is back to the scheduled outages as it was before, and according to the government, the repair works should be done as soon as possible. But again, the damage in some areas more, in some areas less, but still, all the damage would definitely affect the whole country. So it will be needed some time for power to be back as normal, as usual, and as normal. Also, what I would like to mention that this attack was also targeting Kyiv hydroelectric power plant, as well as Kyiv dam, because this power plant is located on the dam. There are damages, but not severe. But still, it was a very high risk that the dam could have been damaged, and actually, the power plant, the hydroelectric power plant, plays a very huge role in the Ukrainian power system. So at this point, this is what I have.
Right, Anna, just grateful, that you're still alive. I mean, 300 meters from your parents' house, and I imagine everyone, in Kyiv especially, was under, in a bunker somewhere or in a bomb shelter to protect them from the attacks. You talked about the power situation and Ukraine back to scheduling power outages and all of that. So what's it been like for you? Have you had the chance to go outside to see how much damage has been done? What is the situation?
Yeah, I was out. I've seen the place where drone landed, actually, because it's, as I said, it's really close. It was no electricity in my parents' place, for a couple of hours. Then it was back, then it was no electricity again. So basically, electricity is not stable. And Kyiv and Kyiv region situation is not as bad as, let's say, in the Zhytomyr region or in the western part of the country, because the damage there is more severe. And according to information at this point, situation is worse with electricity. If we talk about Kyiv, a lot of debris fall just in the city, and a lot of roads were damaged, especially in the area of the dam. Also residential buildings in some areas, but not severe again. If we talk about western part of the country, a couple of residential buildings were actually hit with the debris quite badly. So the situation is really tough, and as I said before, mainly the target was energy infrastructure. But as we can see, when Russian forces target critical infrastructure, especially energy infrastructure, very often the residential areas are also affected due to the debris and due to the fact that a lot of energy infrastructure is located inside of the cities, which is logical, and which is basically similar to any other country.
Yes, and did Ukraine counter the attacks from Russia?
Yes, as much as possible. But again, the scale of this latest attack was really, it was unprecedented, and Ukraine has the capacities it has, so as much as it can.
This is believed to be Russia's retaliation for Ukraine's incursion into Kursk. Ukraine achieved so much success with that. So I imagine that the attacks were expected by Ukraine. But were people prepared? And were people as expectant of these attacks? And were they also ready? Thankfully, only 6 people were killed, sadly, though. But the death toll could have been higher, don't you think?
Definitely. I should say that Ukrainians do not really consider it as a certain, retaliation for Kursk or anything else, because Ukrainians, to be honest, expected that the attack should happen, because it just happens, every time when Russian forces prepare for a couple of months, then usually big attacks are happening. Of course, this one, as I said, was the biggest and really very intense. But definitely, Russia is not happy with Kursk situation. Definitely, Russia is not happy with how with how situation from their perspective is going, because at the beginning of full-scale invasion, President Putin did not plan that this would go for so long, that Ukraine will at one point, Ukrainian armed forces will be on the Russian soil. Of course, it's understandable, and of course people were expecting this, but at the same time, people do not think in Ukraine that this would not happen if Ukraine would not go to Kursk. So it does not really correlate for Ukrainians, at least, and at least for those who I managed to talk to, and in general, what experts are saying as well. So the attack would have been happen anyway. Maybe it would have been less, maybe not, but no one knows that, but it doesn't really correlate, that much. But of course, it looks like that for Russia, for Russian political leadership, this would probably be a certain a certain explanation to their people inside of Russia that, well, look, Ukraine got into Kursk, and we managed to conduct such a huge attack. Could be, again, this is what's discussed. So of course we don't know for sure, but it looks like this could have been the case. But again, people at this point is almost 3 years. Well, more than 2.5 years of this full-scale invasion, and Ukrainians know how to act, know how to react, and hundreds of thousands of people were in the shelters, either in the basements, as myself, I was in the basement, but those people who have access to either underground parking slots or to the metro stations, a lot of people were in that places, and we can see a lot of footage from Kyiv, particularly Kyiv metro stations, when children and people are singing and waiting for the attack to be ended.
Yes, so some of those videos are making their way onto social media. Anna, speaking of Kursk, is the Ukrainian forces still advancing in the region?
Over the weekend, Ukrainian authorities informed that Ukraine managed to advance for 1 to 3 kilometers in different areas, and also that Ukrainian forces managed to took under control a couple of new settlements, but not much information is available because, to be honest, Ukrainian authorities do not really comment much of the lifetime situation in Kursk. So we're getting confirmations and information mainly when something has already happened. But it looks like that, of course, the advance at this point is not as intense and as fast as it was in the first week, but it looks like that Ukrainians still advance and getting ready probably for certain defense as well. The Russian forces are getting ready for defense and for counteroffensive.
Yes, and I see the connection there has been interrupted. I suppose our time is up with this conversation, Anna, so that you can have those devices charged and at least save up on the energy that you have left. Thank you again for speaking with us, and do stay safe.
Thank you.